Evening, everybody. I must say this one's a bit of a difficult one to record. We're going to talk about what happens after a very heavy loss. Unfortunately, that was our fate on Saturday. I said that last week I hoped that we would have a different conversation than the one the week before. We're definitely going to have a different conversation. It wasn't quite the conversation I was hoping for. Essentially, what happened was in a 2-horse race, somebody shot our horse, and we've got to deal with the backlash of that. Lots of tries conceded, no tries scored, a big 0 in the attacking account from us. And what happens now? How do you pick those boys up? And as a coach of a grassroots team, is there new boys sat there thinking, what on earth am I doing here? Is there the old boys thinking, why on earth have I gone another season? So it's really difficult to kind of formulate a plan of how we deal with that. But I think it's really important to kind of meet it head on. There's no point shying away from this. So I think first and foremost, the initial feelings of embarrassment, anger, disappointment, they're all very valid and they are all understandable. And actually, what you should do as a coach and what you should do as a player is use them to get better the next week. You don't want to feel that same way again. And how do you go about not feeling the same way? Well, you get back out on the training park, you work on the things that you need to work on, and you set yourself right. The nice thing about a rugby season being so early is there is a next week. There is a next week to change things. There's a next week to improve things and get better as a team and learn from this experience. I think it's really important to also move on and refocus really, really quickly, because you've got to get back in the saddle. There's no point sulking. There's no point thinking, oh, why on earth did that happen? It's done. It's in the past. You can't go back. And I think it's really, really difficult to move on quickly, but I think you have to, especially with such a heavy loss that we took. You need to box that up, you need to put it to one side, and you need to forget about it. And you need to think and you need to fix the things that need sorting quickly, because you don't want it to become a regular thing. You know, nobody goes out on the field to have lots of points put on them and none for them. That's not why you go and do this. Like I said, we're an amateur team. People are there for enjoyment, and getting that many points put on you is not enjoyable. It's as simple as that. So what do we need to do? We need to go back to the drawing board and we need to figure out how we fix things up really quickly. And we're going to do that as a coaching group. And to all other coaches, again, remember, you're not on your own with those decisions. Speak to the players, see what they saw, speak to the other coaches that might have been there, get their eyes on what went wrong and what things can you have a quick win with. What things can you fix up quickly that will move on into next week? And I think really importantly, especially when it comes to rugby, there is always a bigger fish. There is always a team that unfortunately you are going to meet that you are just not going to beat, no matter what happens. Yes, on Saturday we went with a slightly weakened team that we would have wanted to pick had we had everybody available. However, I still firmly believe that even if we'd have gone fully loaded to that game on Saturday, there was still the way that they played and the standard that we are at the moment, there was still a good 20 to 30 points between those two teams, even with a fully loaded, ready-to-go team that had been playing together week in, week out, and that we came up against them. Now, obviously, we will play them again in this season, and we will be able to gauge ourselves against what that standard is. But it's not like football. It's not like other sports. If you are getting beaten in rugby and beaten badly, you can't park the bus. You can't just stand on your defensive line and say, you shall not pass. It doesn't work like that. You have to keep playing. You have to keep going. And credit to those boys that took the field on Saturday. They did keep going. The phrase of the day was next job. try and pick up the little wins here, there and everywhere, little wins that you can. The little wins that we will take away is we put pressure on that team. We made them defend their line like their lives depended on it, even with such a big scoreline. And yes, we didn't get over the line, but we will learn from how we could have done that better and how we approach that differently. And sometimes you've just got to take your medicine. We were out on that field, we went up against them, they were in the same league, and ultimately, if that team doesn't go on to win this league and win this league very, very well, I would be incredibly surprised. As a coach, I have not seen a team with a game plan that worked down to a T and everybody on that field, 1 to 20 or whatever it was, everybody knew their role, everybody knew what they were doing, and they were slick and they were accurate in what they run. Yes, we made some mistakes. Yes, there's some things that we could have fixed up, but ultimately we came up against a hell of a team that put a beating on us. And sometimes that's just going to happen. And that's hard to take. That's difficult to move on from. But the good thing is, next week, let's get back in the saddle. Let's get back to training and get back to what your game plan is. How do you implement that game plan? Get back to the positives and get back to what you can do rather than what went wrong. Box that, leave it to one side, look at the things that could have improved your game, not trying to figure out how you could have gone back and changed it.